are going to be talking about The Walking Dead. And we will be spoiling things. There's a little bit of a strong adult language because of one line that is said many times in the episode that has to be said. So
it really does.
Honestly, I think that's what the episode should have been called. I think that's probably what they wanted to call the episode, but they couldn't get it past.
If they could have, they would have. Yeah. And man, I mean, his language is so much more tame in the show than in the comics.
Oh yeah, it is way tamer.
Walking Dead. Let's see. If we would have put Walking Dead on 20 years ago, it would have been the NYPD Blue of TV, since their language would have been like.
It would have shown a fat white dude's ass.
That means that would have been Eugene. We'd be seeing Eugene.
Eugene's ass. Yeah.
I'm not okay with this.
I can't remember that guy's name. He was also the douchebag cop from Die Hard 2.
I must say the cheeks on my buttocks are fantastic.
Oh my god.
My gluteus maximus has been worked out quite hardly.
The way that Eugene describes shooting the moon. Take your ocular vision this way and see what I have to present.
Oh God.
Okay, we're going to start. Hello to all the geek enthusiasts, nerd aficionados, and deadheads. Welcome to MaliceCast TV Talk, The Walking Dead, the live stream deadcast about the after show of whatever episode most recently aired, which was last night's episode, season 8, episode 14. Still gotta mean something. Does it?
I have to say, I really like this episode because there was no flash forwards, no flashbacks, and it was all classic season 1, season 2 kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was. I would say that. On the cast with me, we have Mrs. Malice, as always. Hello.
Hello.
And we also have Icy Zorro joining us for this week.
Howdy, folks. I am here. I'm going to miss 1 week next week, but I'll be back for the finale.
Yes. And we'll reverse this. Instead of being 2 guys and 1 girl here, it'll be 2 girls and 1 guy here. And it'll make an interesting conversation because we're bringing on somebody that watches the show but isn't as enthralled with the show. So we'll get a generic person's view on stuff.
Oh,
as the 2 deadheads.
Generic person.
Well, me and Mrs. Malice will just be like, rip if she goes, the show's not that great. We'll be like, what?
How dare you?
So it'll be an interesting. She'll be cowering in the corner by the end of the podcast. She's embedded in so many fandoms. I'm sure she'll be able to pick this one up for the course of a podcast. Yeah, and we're gonna bring Super Hoovian free. We were gonna bring Beacon on, but unfortunately, Beacon, it's too late for him. He has to get his beauty sleep. So. Super Hoovian will be joining us next week, but let's get into this week's cast. So like I said, this is episode 14 of season 8. Still gotta mean something. We always start off with what everybody thought in terms of the episode, yay, nay, or otherwise. I personally loved this episode, thought this was fantastic. On a scale of basic Walker to Walker Carl, I give it a Walker Carl. So
we never saw Walker Carl.
I know, that's why it's so epic. I thought this was a fantastic episode. It was one of my favorite of the season by far. Mrs. Malice, how about you? What do you think about the episode?
Is there something above the Walker Carl? Because I think it's above that, because I actually did love it. So I have no complaints about this episode.
Yeah.
I did scream over one thing.
Oh, okay. We'll get into that. What about you, Zorro?
I thought it was solid. It was definitely I didn't dislike any of the storylines. I don't think it was epic. I'm waiting for something major to happen. There was definitely some cool stuff to see in this one, but I wouldn't go as far as Walker Carl.
I think it's getting there. Maybe the next episode will be even better than this one.
I'm loving this. The back half of the season has been ramping up and ramping up. There's only been like 1 slow episode. I've been loving it.
Yeah. And Jack Malice says in the chat that he hates seeing Rick lie, where we got our name of our episode from, but that's that plays quite a bit into some stuff.
Watch that part.
And they're ripping into Beacon for his needing beauty sleep. Polyfuse says, I bet he has one of those 1980s glowworms he snuggles at night.
And Jack said that would be like a Rip Van Winkle nap. Yeah, it's not working yet.
Beacon, I wish you were in the chat so you could see it.
Hey, you guys called me friggin' Uncle Fester when I shaved my beard, so I'm free to pay it back.
I stand behind that still.
The light bulb.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we all had nothing bad to say about the episode. We thought it was good. You said you had one thing, Mrs. Malice, that kind of unnerved you, right? Is that what you said, or on the episode?
It didn't unnerve me. It was more like I was screaming for like, yay! You know,
okay.
like
Was it when Jadis got that close to smashing Negan's head in?
No.
Well,
I'm on obsession with the TV series, which I've been waiting to find out what it is about and why they're there and why we keep seeing them. So I feel like we're getting closer.
We're getting closer. Okay, so this is a recap podcast. It is going to be filled with spoilers, so we will talk about what happened in it. So if you haven't watched the episode, you don't want to know what happened, you can come back and watch the episode, watch this cast later. It does stay up on the channel, or you can hit us up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/MaliceCorp. It will post there with video of the episode running alongside what we have to say about it. But otherwise, if you don't care about spoilers, welcome. You are free to be here. So there's three main stories, pretty much again, like what has been happening almost all season. First and foremost, Jadis and Negan, what was going on, where Jadis was taking Negan and what they were going to be doing there. Second main story kind of formed into the third story, which was Carol and Morgan going after the saviors.
Well, no, they were trying to find the douchebag kid.
Yeah.
Carol, well, no, at first they thought he was dead. They were going after, Morgan said straight from the beginning, he was going after the saviors. He was there. He was going out there to kill him.
She was going to find the kid.
Carol was out there to watch him, as she said, to make sure that he stayed cleared. So, and then the third story merged Morgan into it, and it was Rick going after the saviors and going against what his son has been saying since day one, since he died. It's just, yeah. It's an interesting dynamic that's going there.
For once, though, Morgan and Rick were on the same level.
Oh, yeah.
We're on the same level. Doesn't mean they were on the right level, but they were on the same level. So that is definitely true.
I've got things to say about that. when do we get there?
Let's start with the mid story first, because the other two have a little bit more in depth going on with them. But the Carol Morgan search, it kind of started out with Ezekiel asking Carol to go search for Henry, to which she said no. He called her a coward for not being willing to.
She should have said, that kid is creepy as hell. Let him be gone. And he's a terrible actor.
Well, I mean, what is your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think that was just a factor of, because of Sophia and because of the girls, that she doesn't want to deal with going and finding another child dead? Or is it just...
Yeah. That was just her not wanting to go see another kid that's seen the flowers. So, you know, that's just how Carol is. I mean, the loss of
Sophia.
Oh, she went
hello.
She went
nope. Okay. See, here's the thing. I think she references it a little bit later when she's talking to Morgan about it. Is she talking to Morgan or Ezekiel? I can't remember. When she's talking about how she lost her daughter. She lost Sophia. Ezekiel. Yeah. And I think that, like, just going at the possibility of finding another dead kid out there that she had sort of taken under her wing, like, how many times can you do that before you just break? But she even talks a little bit about that. She says, you know, when that first happened, I lost myself, and then turns out I found myself again, and I know that I would find myself again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And to us, we've watched the series. We've seen that Ezekiel doesn't know what Carol's been through. But see, I understand the factor of not wanting to go find a kid again and for everything that she's been through. But at the same time, she didn't have the connection to Henry like she's had with these other children.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. It hasn't been nearly as deep. She was Sophia's mom, and she was, you know, essentially taking care of those kids like she was going to be their mom.
She was a surrogate.
Girls.
Yeah, she became an adoptive mother, very much so. And the kid wouldn't listen to her in the first place, so why have any care about him?
I've only been able to watch about the first half of Talking Dead because I didn't get to watch anything until I got home tonight. But Hardwick called what's his name again? I feel like I don't. Yes, I feel like I don't want to remember his name because screw that kid. But he said, "Oh man, he's really picking up that new Carl smell."
Yeah.
He's not where he's supposed to be. He doesn't listen to instructions. He goes running off. We've dealt with that already. We don't need another Carl. Do something else with this character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but that's the thing is there's a lot of open storylines for Carl that are left open that aren't need to have somebody fill them. I'm hoping it's not Henry that fills them. Please don't
Carl
make him the new Carl.
Smith. Carl was supposed to become the blacksmith.
Henry the new Carl. It wasn't a situation where with Carl, Chandler Riggs wanted to stay on. I mixed them two together. No, Chandler Riggs wanted to stay on the show. It wasn't like what happened with the news came out with Dale. The reason the actor of Dale left the show, he was pissed at the way that Darabont got
dismissed after the first season. So
he told them, "Write me off, kill me. I do not want to be on the show anymore." And he actually came out in an interview this week and said that was 100% true. That's what he did. He
said that this week.
Yeah, this last week. Yeah, there was an interview out and he confirmed that he did not want to be on the show after what they did to Darabont, and so he told them, he's like, "Well, I can just have him kill me off." Huh?
That's fine. We don't miss him.
We don't, but he went a lot farther in the stories in the comics.
But I mean, he still ended up dying. Like pretty much anytime somebody becomes the moral center of this show, that person's not long for the world. You know?
Yeah, but at that time that time, I think the comic books hadn't even gotten to his death yet, so he was still, But yeah, moving on from that. What were you saying, Mrs. Malice, about Carol?
The fact that losing Sophia and all that affects her view on kids. The only kid that she seemed to not be that affects her, it was Carl. But even then, she lost Carl too. So I could see why she's like, oh, that kid's dead, because she didn't want to have to see it again. So
yeah. And then the Polyfused asked if Henry's the new Brian, like Family Guy Brian.
Well, I am. I'm trying to clarify.
You said. Yeah.
I don't know what Brian he means, but okay.
He was just filler, no big loss. Yeah.
That's probably what I don't remember what Brian he means.
And he has to clarify. Okay, so Ezekiel calls her a coward, and
by the way, her wood chopping technique is sloppy as crap.
Yeah.
that fun. As Ezekiel walks away, she goes to swing at the log, and she took a chip about that big off the side.
Yeah.
Not that good.
Well, she was just getting out some stress, so and trying to make some starter fuel. So Morgan ends up deciding that he's going to go after the Saviors because he's having his issues, and Carol says she'll go along with that. And then we get them being tracker police, where they're just tracking where they went and how they went, and some more details amongst them, because Morgan thinks he sees Henry, goes chasing after him, and we see the same visage as what he was seeing last week, where it's just a dead Henry telling him that it should have been, or whatever was the phrase again.
Yeah, no, he what it is. It was supposed to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reveals to Carol too that he is it Carol he reveals to, or Rick? It was Carol that he sees things, which
it was Rick where he goes, all he said to Rick was, "I'm not right."
Yeah, he said, "I'm not right." To Carol, he says he pulled the blanket up and said, "I see dead people."
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, is what he did.
Was his breath misting out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never really admitted to anybody.
Yeah. And he went back to his I don't die. Like
he says that several times throughout the show.
He used to say before he cleared. He used to say that all the time too.
Mm-hmm. And in the comics,
he's not gonna die.
Well, in the comics, Mrs. Malice, you remember who it is that says "We don't die" over and over again, and it's a character that lived a lot longer in the books. Andrea and Rick.
Oh, that's right.
Rather than Michonne and Rick, Andrea and Rick are together in the comics, and they repeatedly, it's like their mantra to each other, like whatever happens, me and you, we don't die.
Yeah, that's right.
Die, we multiply. Yeah. So, why are you adding police to tracker to define someone that tracks people? I think tracker covers that. Because I am. I don't know.
Because this is the Walking Dead world. You got to have a little bit more in the title.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so they go out and he has a moment with Carol that explains that, that he wants to be dead for the most part, it seems. And then he talks about that nobody dies. They all turn. Everything turns. Yeah, there is no.
He says something along the lines of, "I'm not fated to die. I'm fated to watch everybody else die. You save people. I watch them die."
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody turns. So is what he starts saying quite a bit, but they.
I'm now being told that I am this podcast's Family Guy version of Brian. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Now they're arguing about who actually is. Because, yeah.
I can't see the chat.
If you guys aren't here for the chat, you should come in. That makes things a lot more fun and interesting. But yeah, they keep moving along. They see Henry's stick embedded into a zombie, and that starts giving Carol hope. And
that was the sloppiest zombie kill of the night, by the way. It was through his cheek. What?
Yeah.
They need to go back to zombie killing school.
They still killed it, so that's all that matters.
Stop killing zombies like you're a damn stormtrooper.
But yeah, so she starts getting we need to go and find Henry, and he goes back to he's dead. I need to go find the saviors. I need to kill him. And that's pretty much where that story ends, because Carol goes off to try and find Henry. So, what we do get with Carol later in the story, just sticking on that storyline before we go to the other ones, is that Carol does find Henry alive, about to be eaten by zombies, and she saves him from him, and the rest of the fans all gave a sigh of unhappiness because Henry was still alive.
I could have sworn when she showed up there were 4 zombies on those routes, which is funny. That's where Sophia was hiding in that same kind of area when Rick left.
Same set.
Yeah. And there were 4 zombies. She only took out 2.
No, she took out 3. There was 3, but she took out
3.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I was only 2. Maybe I just kind of looked away at the time.
So the Easter eggs with that family continue, because as we know, Henry is the younger brother of the actress that played Sophia in real life. That scene was an Easter egg to where Rick told Sophia to stay last time we saw her before she got taken by.
Oh yeah.
And I saw it.
And on Talking Dead, they actually confirmed that it was the exact same set as well.
Oh, was I see? I didn't know it was the same set.
Yeah, so they purposely did all that as a So this is my thinking on it. As we discussed, a lot of people are thinking that he's going to start taking on Carl's storyline. Sophia's still alive in the comics. What if he starts taking on some of Sophia's storyline? Do you guys see that could happen instead with Henry?
Is he gonna make friends with somebody else's kid and they're gonna be in a jealous relationship? I don't know what you're saying.
Probably.
I mean, which would you, if he has to stay alive on the show, which would you rather see? Would you rather see him take on some of Carl's story or take on some of Sophia's story?
I would rather Sophia.
Sophia is much less prevalent in the comics, so yes, Sophia.
Well, this is the way I'm thinking about it. Is Yeah, and they're talking about how the chat channel is much more entertaining than listening to me talk.
But listening to us talk, Polyfuse says, I haven't even seen one episode of the second part of the season yet, and I want Henry dead.
At least we don't have to suffer through it, Polly. We've had to suffer through this kid's acting. I think the one benefit of this kid is that if they did kill Carl to end up doing the time jump, then it won't have to be that kid playing Henry. We'll get somebody else cast as him.
What I see going on now is what we talked about last week was Enid taking on Carl's part. So that means that Henry would take on Sophia's part if they're trying to do that. And I could see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Which one of them becomes the blacksmith apprentice at that point? Enid? Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jack makes a point that pretty sure it's called an illusion when you're pulling back something from the past of your own story, or foreshadowing when you show something that is possible in your own story. If that was the concept of it, they did it as an Easter egg to, like, for the fans to, hey, let's see if they can figure this one out. You know,
I did,
and that is why you're on our cast. So, because you pick out those things, I didn't notice it. It was actually
there's another one too. There is another one.
There's a couple other Easter eggs.
A couple of them
within this episode. So yeah, that was pretty much the gist with that. Harry survived, which we were hoping wouldn't happen. They kept giving us little hints that he died, and then he didn't. And so
I know. I saw that bloody shoulder pad laying on the ground, and I was like, sweet.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing we got out of him was another, like, throwback to previous episode, and that was Morgan came up to him. Well, let's get into the story first before we go into that. So we had Rick and Morgan, and Michonne. It started out with Michonne trying to give Rick her letter from Carl for him to read, and
finding out he hadn't even read his own.
Hasn't even read his own. So Michonne was telling him that, you know, you need to read it. He wrote it for you. You need to read it. And then she brought up the fact that we didn't know. We always thought Carl was the first one that she told about her son. And this what went through with Michonne before everything. But it turns out it was Andrea, because Andrea was the one that put her on the path of becoming more human again. And she brings that up.
I really wish she hadn't died. I actually like Andrea. I did like her.
And that's all the way back to season 3. Like, yeah.
It's far back.
And so she took on the role of what Andrea did for her to start telling Rick that, you know, this is, you got to push past it. You gotta keep some semblance of yourself. You got to read what he gave you. Yeah. It looked like Rick was going to read it. Then he decided, well, screw this. I'm going to go kill everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and here's a little theory that I had. And it's still a possibility. My theory was, before I even saw the episode, the title still got to mean something. Kind of an allusion to something that Carl says in the comics. There's, if I remember correctly, he's basically, or it might have even been in the show, where he was saying, you know, all this still has to mean something. We have to move towards, you know, civilization. We can't just be ruled by our vengeances and our whims and what we want to do. It's still all got to mean something. It's got to build to something. And I was kind of thinking that Rick was going to read that letter and see that there. And it's still possible that he did at the end, because we didn't see what Carl wrote in the letter.
No. And I think he only said that in the show. I don't think he said that in the comic books, because in the comic books he was kind of like gun-ho and wanted to kill everybody.
Yeah, Beacon has joined our chat now, so I don't know if you saw the talk of him needing beauty sleep and that stuff. You should go back and watch and look at that chat later, Beacon. But he says not enough young zombies out there. Henry would make a great walker.
That's true. We don't see a ton of kid zombies out there, do we?
No, the only one we saw ever as
the very first episode.
Sophia was the very first kid.
And the doll girl, the girl carrying.
Girl was the first zombie girl or kid.
Yeah, not too many of them. They make great little snack packs. So I guess they get eaten quickly.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I went there.
For the walker on the go.
Walker on the go. Walkers, do you need a snack?
Not feeling regular. Activia children.
Okay.
Back to Jamie Lee Curtis doing the commercials. Yeah.
Back to what's going on in this story.
Negan showing up with his bat. That's right, zombies.
So Rick decides to go off on his own, and rather than kind of join up with Morgan and Carol, the path that they were going, he goes to the dissenter that has stayed behind from the Saviors, who we have all deemed as a good guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Asks him where would they go, and he tells him probably back to the sanctuary. And he's like, but if it was you, where would you go? And this guy tells him about this little dive bar.
Yeah, well, that was one of my favorite weird little things. Like, he didn't tell him what it was called or where it was. He said, oh, yeah, there's this little dive bar they took me to, like, one time, a couple miles out of the way. And Rick's like, got it.
Yeah.
Like, I know where that's at.
So, but he does kind of the same thing. He's on the page of Carl. What's Carl's been preaching since he died was, let's have some peace. Let's, and he doesn't tell him outright, like what Carl has said, where it's like, let's stop killing. He tells him, don't
do me a favor.
Yeah. Just don't kill the ones that you don't have to. Some people have made a bad decision going. They're going to realize that as they head out there, and don't just go in there and massacre everybody. So.
Which, I mean, that definitely plays into Rick's strategy later in the episode, and I think it was meant to kind of lead us to believe that he was going to go along that path, because the guy basically says, look, you could save them, you could recruit them, they could, if you bring them back here, they could be part of this. You don't have to kill them. And Rick is like, I don't have to.
Got to ask those 3 little questions. Rick didn't ask those 3 little questions.
No. How many have you killed?
He was good to go.
Yeah. I think he's beyond that. There's no questions anymore. We've
long gotten past the questions.
Yeah.
After they met the Terminus people, I don't care about your questions anymore.
Yeah.
So he, on his way out there, comes across Morgan, to which we get another throwback, this one being an allusion or however you pronounce it, because this is a straight throwback where Morgan is about ready to kill Rick, and Rick's like, it's me, you know me. Basically what he did when he first came across Morgan.
And even after he recognized him, he was still like, he redid his grip on the stick, like, okay.
Because that's what I gotta wonder, is now we're seeing that he sees dead people. Is he now questioning every single person he sees, whether it's an illusion
how could he not?
Yeah,
I think he is. I think he does. That's why he wasn't sure. That's why he was going to take a swing at Rick, because he wasn't sure. So,
and man, also at the end, I will get there when we get there, but it was this close. You and me.
Yeah. Well, not everyone. Jack says the Saviors killed every one of the heapsters, but there's one still. So we'll get into that.
Jadis is still there.
Too many mouths to feed is what Beacon said. So, but yeah, so he gets back to his somewhat clear status, and he confides in Rick and basically says, I'm not well. I'm not.
I think he said, I'm not right.
I'm not right is what he said. Yeah. So they decide to continue going after the Saviors together, come across some body parts on the ground.
Your head clogged.
After seeing the mini herd, yeah.
And then we fade to black and come to, and Morgan and Rick have been captured by the rest of the Saviors, and they're trying to decide what to do with them. This
and
situation,
I loved how divided the Saviors were, because it was pretty much just what's his name, douchebag with the long hair, Jared.
Jared, or was it Ethan?
I don't remember his name. I just douchebag.
Yeah.
Who apparently is a tremendously nice guy in real life.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, he was. He's. Everybody else is like, "Hey, man." Well, Rick starts convincing him the same line that the center guy from Hilltop was like, "Hey, if you let us go, I'm going to take you back there. We get a doctor. We get these people taken care of." And it's a very convincing line. Like, we can take care of you. If we know you made a mistake, we can make it all better now. You just got to let us go.
I mean, he had me convinced. I was like, dang, look, he's listening to Carl. There's our old Rick right there, with Crazy Morgan. They're on opposite pages like normal. And then, hello, when the herd comes in.
Oh, that was one of my favorite parts, though. Morgan being straight up brutally honest. Because I came out here to kill all you.
Yeah.
And you know what? If that herd kills you, that's going to be a shame because there'll be nobody left for me to kill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, this whole scene. So yeah, Rick tells him that we have a place for you. Put your guns down. Let's just, we can work this out. And he uses the line that he used earlier that gives us our title of the episode, and he's like, all I can give you is my word. A man's word still got to mean something. And hearing that line after the episode before where he said that to Todd was the name of the character before Daryl just shot him, and Rick looked shocked that Daryl shot him, like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
The herd comes in, he tells them to release him, they release him. A couple of them do. First, the one guy doesn't want to let him get released, but the Saviors end up releasing him. And they pick up guns. They start shooting the herd together. One of the guys of the Saviors shoots a zombie saving Rick from getting bit. And they nod to each other. So they look like they're in total agreement. We're going to work this out. Everything's going to go great. And then the other head nod happens between Morgan and Rick.
Yeah.
And they just...
Savior massacre happens.
Yeah,
I love the fact that they were both on that same page the whole time. Rick is shambling, dissembling, and lying to them. Morgan's brutally honest, but they both know we get free, we're gonna kill these dudes.
Yep.
Yeah,
like
and
there was that nod, and then all of a sudden, hatchet to the neck, bam.
But then this is the whole thing. The whole setup with this season, from the beginning of the season, is who are the bad guys, and it's just looking more and more like Rick is the bad guy.
Yep.
And there was a question that was posed on one of the sites I was looking at, and it was, whose word can you trust, Rick or Negan's? And at this point, I would say Negan's.
I would say Negan too.
I don't think Negan has ever lied to us.
No,
ever.
Everything he said he was going to do, he's always done.
Yes.
So that's sad.
Now
we're losing Rick. No.
Here's a different question. Which one is scarier right now? Would you rather have Negan with his bravado but telling you exactly what he's going to do, or Rick with his kind of stealthy, quiet creepiness right now?
Rick is scary.
And Jack says, how is Rick the bad guy? He's the bad guy because he's just killing everything. He's more in line with Simon is right now than...
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So...
Rick's more scarier right now. I'd rather be with Team Negan now than with Rick, because Rick is just...
I don't know about that.
I don't know about team.
Not team.
But if I had to face down one of them one-on-one, I'd rather face Negan right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes me feel like whatever Negan was saying last episode, or not last episode, 2 episodes ago, when he was like, there'll be 75% Kings, when he's like, we'll work out a new deal. I was like, he was telling the truth. He was like, we're gonna...
Good point that Beacon brought up. He says Negan at least values people. Rick doesn't seem to do that right now.
No, he doesn't.
Negan,
he values people within his circle.
Yeah,
as he has said repeatedly, people are resources. Like, he didn't want Simon to kill all the heapsters. People are resources. Like, his whole idea is gather these resources so that we can have civilization again eventually. And people are the resources. So he's not out there to kill everybody. He's not. When he killed Glenn and Abraham, he killed 2 people after Rick's group had killed 40 plus.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a terrible dude. He's just, you don't want to be against him.
How sad was everybody when they couldn't see Gregory amongst that group in the bar? Because that was the one person missing that you wanted to see get killed.
I so wish he would have been there.
So we still don't have a dead Gregory anywhere.
Didn't Gregory leave with them? Where was Gregory? Wait a minute.
He left with them. It doesn't mean he stayed with all the various people.
Rick is just venting. He's under a lot of stress at the moment. For Christ's sakes, he just lost his only son.
Yeah, he's on his man period. He'll get over it. That's why the herd followed him there. They could smell the blood.
but yeah, and then we get the fantastic death that we've been hoping for since we didn't get Gregory. We got the sleazy long-haired guy from the Saviors getting locked in to behind a door, grate, whatever, and getting eaten as Morgan held the door shut, just watching.
Not just hold. No, he didn't just hold the door shut. He was holding.
He held him. Yeah, he held him. He didn't have to hold him because he was.
Yeah, there was really no point to that. He just wanted to have his hands on the kill.
Yeah. So
but you could say I killed him.
I want to bring out a point that I made last week's episode when I asked what the heck is going on with the Saviors. Do they just multiply like crazy? Because it looked like they kept shooting them and they kept having just as many of them there running away. Many of the Saviors, so about 80% of the Saviors that were inside that bar scene, this was their first appearance ever on the show. They were never seen in the pens whatsoever.
I believe it.
Yeah, so it was a goof that was made. So they didn't set up for that scene later. They just were like, hey, let's just hire. So I'm like, so they do multiply like rabbits. They just appear.
So
well,
Jack is.
Actors were just sick and couldn't make it, so they had to cast,
Jack is making a lot of points trying to make sure that people, or he's explaining why he still sees that Rick is the good guy. He says, how is Rick the bad guy? He's doing whatever he needs to bring justice. Mm-hmm. Rick values people that mean something to him, and he avenges his losses. They had not agreed to release those Saviors. They only went that way to get those guys when the Walkers attacked. I can see that point, but we have repeatedly talked over this half of the season about the dichotomy between. If we had been following Negan's group from the start, if we'd been following the Saviors, we would definitely see them as the good guys.
And that's the only thing against what Jack's saying in the chat is not they had not agreed to release them. No, Rick was saying, "I'll release you," and then when he comes across the guy that's like dying on the floor, was like, "You said," he's like, "I lied." Yeah. So that's the before when he said a man's words still got to mean something before Daryl shot the one guy. He honestly believed that. Now he's at a point where it's just like, I'll just do what I got to. I don't, he's letting some of his humanity go. We know what happens when Rick loses his humanity. What he turns,
he bites people's necks out. Yeah.
Polyfuse says Rick is in RoboCop mode.
I would argue more Judge Dredd, but
and that's exactly what Beacon says: is justice requires a sense of morality, which Rick doesn't seem to have at the moment. He doesn't.
Not right now. No, he lost it.
And that's what the saddest part about this is. That scene happens. They go back to the hilltop, and the one opportunity for someone to because the defector sees Rick. And you can see the just like, oh my God, you killed them all. Like look on his face. Like I asked you and you're a monster. You're just the look on his face. I don't know if this is the way that you guys felt, but the look on his face he was looking at him thinking like you're just as bad as Negan in that guy's eyes.
I saw more resignation. Like, I was hoping you weren't going to kill them all, but I kind of thought you were. Yeah.
You missed an important scene too, and Morgan and Rick were still in the bar too. Is that Rick asks Morgan, "Why did you save me?" and keeps asking him that, and finally,
I have that hashtagged here. Why'd you save me? Yeah.
Morgan goes, "Because my son was there." So,
and then he walks away, and then you see Rick looking into a fractured mirror, which is very clear cinematography, illustrating he is broken as a person right now. He doesn't know who he is. Yep. Rick is. I disagree with Jack's points, honestly, and I think that cinematography does too. Rick is broken right now.
Beacon brings up the majority of the group wanted to free Rick and Morgan. There was one dude who didn't and was kind of leading the group.
That's true.
And then Beacon also says, well, Jack says that Rick's morality hasn't been lost. He's just adjusted to the dire situation and bring frontier justice, which, I agree with.
AKA murder.
AKA war.
And Beacon brings up the point that he didn't have to hunt down that group. He could have just let them go, which, but when he gets back to the hilltop, the problem I have here is that Michonne has the opportunity to go, hey, we just talked about you need to start embracing and get, not become this killing machine type of thing. And rather than do that, she just lets him off the hook. And then he goes to grab Carl's letter, which
was this the first time that we've seen them say "I love you" to each other?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like there was about to be a confrontation, and he said, "I love you," and
I
she was
love
like,
this. Sorry, I don't want to cut you
I know
off.
the Stark Children line.
This line from Polyfuse is fantastic. The only ones that know Rick's pain are what's left of the Stark children from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. My favorite part of that is what's left of.
But that's the problem. So Jack brings up, it doesn't matter that most want to let them go. Their leader didn't, and ultimately the Sabers have always followed orders and their leader. That's what they were discussing, though, was the next person that in line that was their leader was Simon, and they were like, don't want to support this guy anymore, these people.
Yeah, they were talking about not being saviors anymore at that point. They didn't want to be saviors anymore.
Yeah.
Like it was just the one dude.
Just the conversation that they overheard while waking up was like, yeah, we could totally take these people in and they'd be on our side.
And the one dude was the actual smart one at that time, because he's the douche and he's the one that's a pain in the ass majority of the time. Whatever he said his name was,
Jared.
But he was the one that was smart enough to go, they're lying. I saw Morgan strangle one of his own guys with his own hands, like
I wanted to be like, have you never seen a hostage situation in a movie before? People that are tied up will say anything they can to get you to let them go.
But the rest of the group was exactly what the guy from the Sabers was saying. They were realizing they made a mistake by running, and they should have stayed at Hilltop. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Jerkface was telling them too, hey, if we take Rick in, we'll be golden. We'll all be golden with Negan.
Mm-hmm.
So, because Rick is a prize. So.
Oh, for sure. Like they had their list of must captures: Rick the Prick, the Widow, and the King.
And he's saying that now, but I think at this point,
Rick the Prick.
Not the case with Negan anymore. Negan's starting to sway, and getting into that story. Let's go there next. The main story.
Before we do,
go ahead.
Over 3 or 4 episodes, you've said her name like 4 or 5 different ways. It's Jadis.
Jadis?
Jadis.
I thought it was Jadis or Jadis, but Jadis. Okay, Jadis. Spelled
just for my own peace of mind.
It's spelled weird. Yeah. Jadis. I know how it's spelled, but yeah.
Jadis.
Boom. Okay, so the main story. Jack brought up in the chat that they left her alive to show they did not leave her alive.
They did not.
She played dead for quite a while. Found a body, moved the body, covered the body so that the blood looked like it came from her, and played dead. I got one problem with that scene. How long was she playing dead? Because it had to have been a while.
It looked like she fell asleep.
Yeah, so why didn't the body that she moved over turn? Because I looked and there was no headshot or anything on
that. You've been catching up on Fear the Walking Dead, right?
Catching up. I'm in season 3 right now.
If you're in season 3, there is
where they were timing them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one dude, like, he was about to get killed, and the guy was like, "How long would it take you to turn?" He's like, 48 hours, 17 minutes, based on my age and body type and blah blah blah. Like it doesn't have it. The times that we've seen people turn within like minutes, that seems like those are the ones that have been bitten, have been sick for a while. If somebody just dies, it seems like it takes at least a day, or it should.
Polyfuse says the Saviors are an ant colony following their Queen Negan.
That kind of makes sense, because when Andrea's sister gets shot, she gets bit, and within hours, I think almost a whole night goes by, and she finally turns.
Yeah.
So.
That dude in the first season, not the abusive husband, but the kind of rednecky dude that got bit and they left him by the tree. It took him like it seemed like 3 days to turn.
Yeah, and I was wondering if that was because of time length of how long the zombie apocalypse has been around. So I don't know. But Jack brings up another point that Rick is supposed to say. Forgive them their sins and let it go because they have decided that they had enough. No, he's not supposed to do that, but he needs to take some of what his son. He's totally thrown out what his son asked him, and he's lied again. I mean, he said that's his first thing of showing that his word wasn't right, because he told Carl, "I'll make it happen," and he hasn't done one thing to make what Carl was asking for happen.
Yeah, and not to quote Negan, but he's kind of right. People are resources. Like, they could have used the extra 4 dudes or whatever at Hilltop.
Mhm.
The kingdom has been, eviscerated. There's almost nobody left. Alexandria has been gutted. Pretty much everybody that's left is at Hilltop. They need more people.
Mhm.
And, look, they took in Tara. She was with the governor. And look how great she's turned out to be.
You got to remember, too, the more people you take in, that's more mouths you have to feed, too.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair. But the more people you bring in, the more people you have to farm.
Beacon saying Maggie would have forgave and brought them back, and the king would have brought them back, Ezekiel.
Maggie would have brought back the other guys, but not the jerk.
No.
Agreed.
Not unless you show remorse. But I think even if she brought him back, they would have gone back into the pen first to prove. Like, that one guy's proven himself, so she's letting him roam.
Yeah.
So him and like 2 others or something like that. Because the ones that stayed, she let them roam, because it's like, hey, he made that point last week. We stayed. Yeah. Why are you gonna? We could have ran. We stayed.
Yep.
And that was that's the best point that you can make. So.
I feel like that should be a plot device where they should turn on them at some point, but I haven't gotten any bad vibes from that guy at all.
Paulie says Rick is just breaking some eggs to make Carl's omelet.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But yeah, so
the only true peace is when everybody else is dead.
Jadis, right? Did I say that right?
Yes, Jadis, yes.
Jadis. We find out there's a lot that we didn't know about her.
Girl's got layers. She's cute when she's cleaned up.
Well, yeah, when her hair was pulled back, I was like, she's a good-looking girl.
I actually like her now.
I like her character a lot. But we find out
a hell of a lot more now that she's speaking in complete sentences.
All right.
She's got an awesome setup for where to stay and
I know.
sleep.
Nice and clean.
One of those.
Here's my question: is she the only one that had that sweet little cleaned up, pristine Connex box, or did they all have those buried under rubble?
I think they probably had them all buried under rubble.
Because on Talking Dead, the girl that plays Jadis is like, no, I think that was just Jadis that had that one.
That would make sense. She's the lead.
There was a joke made on one of the sites that I was looking at. It was like, maybe she was an interior decorator in her previous life.
Maybe, because that was nice.
It was clean.
I'm gonna edit Jack's little comment here. He said she looks like an older Mila Jovovich. He's not wrong.
Yeah, I guess.
But I'm leaving out the mean part.
Yeah, Beacon says definitely over hard, not over easy for Carl's omelet.
Dude, she even had a sunroof up in there too.
I know, right? That was a sweet little, I've been deployed around the world and lived in way crappier Connex boxes than that. That was a nice little spot.
Yep.
So we see Jadis, we see her with Lucille, and I was like, did she make a duplicate Lucille? Was what I thought at first.
That was my thought at first too. I wasn't sure of the timeline there.
And she goes and she opens up, which I'm assuming was the container that she held Rick in when they made him strip down to his skivvies. And
oh my god,
you see Negan wrapped to a cart, and we get my favorite line once again. It's Negan that is said multiple times throughout the episode, and like I said, there'll be a little bit of adult language here, but it's what the shit?
What the shit?
I love that she starts pulling him, and his response back is, "No, really,
seriously,
what the shit?
Seriously, what the shit?"
It was so good, and it's repeated again later after the zombie cart girl in the helicopter. What the shit?
Helicopter!
Okay, I get. Yeah, Jack's saying that her face is a little bit longer.
He called her the horse-faced version of Mila Jovovich. I get it. She's got a little bit of a more oval face. Sure.
Yes. Yeah. And the funny thing is, when I saw her sitting at Comic-Con and nobody was coming up to take pictures with her because we didn't know who she was, even though we knew she'd been in a TV show.
Because she didn't have the weird clipped bangs.
No, she had the bangs, but that's what was throwing me off. It was like, I've seen her before somewhere, and now I regret it because I'm really liking her character. And
yeah,
nobody was bugging her. I probably could have got a good conversation on camera with her of like, hey, what's because literally nobody. She was just sitting there smiling and just jovially talking with other people. And
if you watch Talking Dead at all after any of The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead, you know there's a high percentage of Brits on these shows. She is also British, but man,
I'm not going to say Beacon's comment, but you should be here in the chat because that's hilarious.
Oh, have it up. So
yeah. So
I'm relying on you guys to read the comments for me.
I don't want to be mean online, so I'm not going to say it.
She starts getting prepped to burn Lucille, and Negan's trying to smooth things out, and
man, that dude is persuasive. The dude has a golden tongue.
She goes around to get another weird zombie contraption.
I still want to know what the hell she was going to do with that thing.
The dolly zombie?
Yeah.
I mean,
the zombie card. What was that? Was it a zombie card?
Of imagination for zombies, though. She's got some pristine artwork with them.
and it had some kind of weird metal plate in front of its eyes. I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah.
So the zombie couldn't see.
But when she comes back, Negan, having pulled with his tippy toes, got into her bag, got a gun, and
she left a bag of guns next to him. What the hell?
So he used
and that's what he calls out. He goes, "Whatever you're gonna do, you must not have wanted to do it so much because you left me next to this bag of guns." and if he could have on the card, he would have done the lean back. This bag of guns.
Yeah, and he finds something that's important to her, which was photographs, and we know photography is important to her because she packed the camera. If you guys didn't see that, she threw that into her luggage. It was the exact same camera she used to take pictures of Rick when she was gonna draw him, like one of her French girls.
How did she develop the film, though? That's my other.
Room?
She made darkroom that room for all we know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she's got a dark room too.
Because that room could work as a dark room as well, I'm sure.
I don't care if it's zombie apocalypse. Hipsters are gonna hipster. She probably has a portable, phonograph somewhere with a big horn that she can play the music out of.
Some coffee shop in the trash pile somewhere.
For those that haven't read the comic, we finally got what has been revealed in the comic, the whole backstory of Lucille. Well, not the whole backstory, but
some of it.
The gist.
The gist of it. That Lucille's named after Negan's wife, that she took care of him during the real world, and
his one main regret in life is that she died. And so now he named the bat after her, because that was what was going to get him through.
And the bat got him through this new world. In the comics, it is shown that his wife, part of the reason he feels terrible, his wife died of cancer, and while she was going through cancer, he cheated on her. Real
John Edwards?
Jerk move, yeah. So,
I'm of mixed feelings about this. I love the fact that they're referencing the backstory for Lucille, the backstory for Negan. I'm concerned that at this point Negan has been such a psychopath that the moment he shows any kind of relativity, any kind of empathy, human emotion, we're all like, oh, he's just hurt.
No, I don't feel that way, but he's playing to the fact that, like, don't destroy this. Here's something that's important to you. I'll destroy it, because he's holding the flare to the photos.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't just, it's the only thing I got left of her. And same thing, he's trying to explain, I didn't tell Simon to come kill all these people.
Yes.
It was, you guys, I've told you, humans are resources, people are resources, and I don't get rid of resources.
Yeah. I think the most convincing line he said that, well, not only humans or people are resources, I've told you that before, Bose. He said, whoever did this, that was somebody not following the plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This was not me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him. So, I mean, he's telling the truth.
Yeah. And during all of this, while he's trying to stop her, a struggle ensues. She goes after the flare. He goes in the water. And then Mrs. Malice gets her favorite moment.
Yeah, that flare was there for a reason.
when she said she ran to go get another flare and came back, and said the helicopter turned around good. Wait, I'm here. Meaning she knows who's in the damn helicopter.
Of course.
Exactly.
No, the flare was there for a reason. There was a timer that went off.
Yeah, she kept checking
her watch. Yeah.
Kept checking her watch.
So
it's the umbrella company, I swear.
Therein lies the question that has been being asked. Who's in the helicopter? What do you guys think?
Helicopter.
It's Richter.
Oh my god.
Oh, and the universes collide.
There's two major theories of who it is.
The umbrella company.
Yeah, that's one. No, yeah. One is that's if Georgie is the character that they think she is from the comics, that would explain how she's able to travel.
Sure, it would be the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, it's been pushed. Crazy, like talked about. Big crossover coming. Morgan's going to Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, and in the preview we saw, he was using his bow staff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot easier to get to Texas if there was a helicopter. And that's so, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's somebody that's completely different than those two, or do you think it's one of those two that some people from Fear the Walking Dead or the Commonwealth?
I think
because remember, George said she knew about the communities as well. How does she know about the communities?
The helicopter too has been seen so many times throughout the season.
The same helicopter.
Not the same helicopter, but this is the one that Rick saw when he was walking after him and Daryl had a fight.
But they can have multiple helicopters, so maybe it is a crossover for both shows to kind of like unite. I don't know, but hey, that'd be kind of cool.
I'm more inclined to believe Commonwealth, although that would skip over the whole Whisperers plot.
Yeah, which I don't want them to. That looks
no, I definitely want them to do that one. But like just the pure size of a community it would take to reasonably maintain a helicopter leads me more to believe Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Or just something that isn't actually in the books.
Well, they could combine the two. They've done that before.
Come with me,
Jack Malice says, so Rick can run away, kill off the saviors for their evils, or submit and accept Negan's tyranny. So far, there's no hint that Negan is capable of compromise or be redeemed.
There is.
Well, that's the thing. That's what he's starting to show, is that there is capable of compromise. They're starting to show with that character. And that junkie kid from Fear is a true survivor. Hell, heck yeah.
Nicholas, yeah, absolutely. And if you again, not that they're going to go the same way as the comics, but the fact that Negan is capable of compromise is what leads to the end of the storyline in the books.
Yes. So, and plus Jeffrey Dean Morgan's a great actor, so I would think that they don't want to just kill him.
No,
right?
I hope it come off.
So, I don't know what's going to happen still, but yeah, she lets him go. He doesn't try and bash her head in. He gets Lucille back. He sticks to what he said to her. And he tries to get answers from her. Negan tries to get answers from her. She won't give them.
Well, he basically just asks her again, what the shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, what was that? And she won't tell him. And he says, we'll start a new plan. And she doesn't want to go along with any plan whatsoever. So he leaves. And then we get our other question of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
And he picks somebody up on the road while he's driving. They don't show us who it is. He says, you look like, back to the shit word, but you look like shit if it had shit, and you're still not as good looking as it.
Yeah.
So
who could that possibly be at this point?
So we have, I want to know if you guys have any guesses.
It's Dwight's wife. Dwight's wife.
That's one that's out there, is Sherry.
Yeah.
Dwight's wife. The other one is Laura, I think. Yes, Laura. The savior that shot Dwight in the shoulder, because she survived, so it still needs to get out.
Yeah,
still needs to get somehow to explain to Negan and Simon and all them that Dwight defected.
Yeah.
Third, the one that went through my head was Gregory, but
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about Gregory.
He's the type that would be walking down the street like, oh my God, somebody help me.
Oh, I totally.
And he'd be willing to get in Negan's car pretty quick.
He would say whatever he has to let him know what Simon's doing and what's all going on because,
No, I was hoping Gregory would get eaten by walkers.
I want to see Gregory get eaten by walkers. So, yeah.
I think the best twist would be Sherry.
Yeah.
I think that would be, if they want to go with the twist type of thing, but that's the thing is that they made the sense that Negan wouldn't react the way that he would to her. He'd be a little pissed that like, I thought you were dead. And, it wouldn't be like, hey, yeah, get in the car. Let's go.
It's probably Gregory.
Negan knows that he was semi-abandoned after the car chase with Rick. He's coming back. He knows that Simon screwed him over. I think if he saw Gregory walking along the street there, he would think, here is somebody that I can use as a tool. When he saw him, first of all, he insults him with no qualms. Of course, I mean, it's Negan, but Gregory's just going to smile and eat it. And yeah, he also knows that this is a dude he can use however he wants. Gregory's my vote.
There was another like shot in the dark that was out there, and I know this isn't true, but it'd be the funniest thing if it was true, and it would be such an awesome like pull the wool over the eyes of the fans and stuff. No,
Jesus,
but I didn't think about that because we saw him pop up a little bit in the last episode, but we haven't seen him.
I meant actual Jesus, but yeah, show Jesus.
No,
yeah.
Somebody was like, the shot in the dark is it's Carl. Carl faked his death and getting buried.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Oh my God.
But I do agree with what you're saying here, Jack, in the chat. He says, yeah, but Rick doesn't know that Negan is showing that, and he's supposed to just let everything Negan has done go. No, absolutely.
He's not.
He's not. On Negan. That's what we're trying to state, is on Negan, feel free to go and have your murderous rampage on him that you can. But the people that are showing some remorse or showing to be human, because that's the way he started this season, was we don't kill everybody. We keep as many alive as we can. Now he's completely reversed from that and is like, we kill everybody. So, but
Rick is all we kill everybody.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But at the beginning of the season, the Rick started the complete opposite.
Yeah.
We capture as many as we can and let survivors survive. So yeah, that was the gist of this episode. I have two other things. One, this was a big 50th appearance for Christian Serratos, who plays Rosita. It's her first. She hit 50 times playing Rosita on the episode.
Yay.
Was she in the show tonight?
She was in the episode because we have the reveal of them watching Eugene at the end, to which
Daryl,
they said they have Rosita's like take out the bullet maker, which is Eugene, not the materials. So that was one of the questions posed out there. I'd like to have if you guys want to let us know, if you're watching this later on YouTube, in the comments below, do you think they'll kill Eugene? Do you think somebody's going to redeem him and keep him along? I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Yeah.
They're going to kill Eugene and they're going to save Gabriel.
There was something released, and if you guys want me to, I will read it. If you don't, then we can wait.
Yes. Go. Ready, go.
But they released the letter to Rick from Carl.
Oh.
Nice.
I want to hear it.
It's because he reads it for the first time in the next episode, and someone found the entire thing. I'm going to find it right now. Let's see, where's it at?
I'm assuming that's basically going to be the opening of the next episode,
yes.
So I'm good with that.
Carl's full letter to Rick was revealed, which might get Rick back onto being a little bit more human. And
I hope so, because it's his ability to compromise that ends the storyline of the comic books as well.
Yeah.
So.
Carl's letter opens with a reminiscing about his 8th birthday and Aunt Evie. He remembers his mother, Lori. He remembers his school and going to the movies. And Friday night pizza, cartoons, and grandma and grandpa in church. Those summer barbecues and the kiddie pool. You got me. Could have used that at the prison, the letter reads. You told me about the walks we'd take when I was 3. You holding my hand around the neighborhood all the way to Ross's farm. I don't know that I remembered them, but I do because I see the sun and the corn and that cow that walked up to the fence and looked me in the eye. And you told me about all that stuff, but it isn't just that stuff. It's how I felt. Holding your hand, I felt happy and special. I felt safe. I thought growing up was about getting a job and maybe a family, being an adult, but growing up is making yourself and the people you love safe as you can, because things happen. They happened before you were shot, before things went bad. Kind of felt like things went bad because you were shot. I want to make you feel safe, Dad. I want you to feel just like I felt when you held my hand, just to feel the way for 5 minutes. I'd give anything to make you feel that way now. I wanted to kill Negan. I wish I did. Maybe it would have been done. I don't think it's done now. You went out there again, but I don't think they surrendered. I don't think they will surrender. There are workers in there, Dad. They're just regular people, old people, young people, families. You don't want them to die, Dad. We're so close to starting everything over, and we have friends now. It's that bigger world Jesus talked about, the kingdom, the hilltop. There's got to be more places, more people out there, a chance for everything to change and keep changing. Everyone giving everyone the opportunity to have a life, a real life. So if they won't end it, you have to. You have to give them a way out. You have to find peace with Negan, find a way forward somehow. We don't have to forget what happened, but you can make it so that it won't happen again, that nobody has to live this way, that every life is worth something. Start everything over, show everyone that they can be safe again without killing, they can feel safe again, that it can go back to being birthdays and school and jobs and even Friday night pizza somehow, and walks with the dad and a 3-year-old holding hands. Make that come back, Dad, and go on the walks with Judith. She'll remember them. I love you, Carl. Freaking crazy.
Did it just get Dusty in here? What's
freaking crazy letter?
Oh my god!
So if that doesn't turn Rick back to human, then he is the bad guy. Period.
That's why he's crying in those scenes. Mm-hmm. That's got to be why, because that's a tearjerker.
Well, I think you just said it right there. If that doesn't turn him back to human and off the vengeful path, then he is officially the bad guy.
Yeah, I agree with that, because that was just, oh my god.
Yeah, that's a good letter. Man, those writers are solid.
I know. Want me to cry again. God damn it.
So that's what we'll end on, is what to expect for next week's episode, because that is the first thing Rick reads in next week's episode. I don't know if he reads it out loud, but somebody's got a picture shot of it, and
it should. I would hope that it's like that kid doing the voiceover.
I would hope so, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, powerful stuff. We got two episodes left. Icy Zoro won't be with us next week, but he will be here for the big crossover event, season finale and season premiere of Fear the Walking Dead. Thank you guys for coming. We went a little bit long. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff to talk about on this episode. If there's anything that you want to drop a line about, comments, questions, anything like that, you can always put them back into the chat here. We do see when people put new things in and come back and respond. Or like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube /C/MaliceCorp, drop us a comment below. We definitely like discussing this stuff. Other ways that you can reach out to us, our website, malice-corp.com. You see it written there on the screen. Check us out. If you want to help us out, please hit any of the Amazon links that are on there. And when you're going to order your stuff from Amazon, it helps us. You still get your stuff. We appreciate it greatly. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, which gives you a free 30-day subscription every 30 days to channels that you like and enjoy. And you can hit that with us and subscribe to us for 30 days. And we greatly appreciate that. Let's talk about where you can follow the rest of the cast. I'm going to go to him first because we're used to him having somewhere to follow, because it's a big thing here at the end. Zoro, where can we follow you?
I'm at IC Zoro on Instagram and Twitter. The reason I'm going to be missing the next one is I'm going to France for a week or so, taking a cruise down the Rhone River. So there will be a lot of wine scenery, gorgeous scenery.
Name drop of that vacation you're taking. You want me to give that back to you? Name drop of going to France.
What you want?
Yeah,
I'm going to France.
Yeah, so definitely follow him. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter. He'll have a lot of cool stuff coming from France. And when he comes back, he'll be like, "We're from France. We come from France.
We are from France.
Hey, you need to wear a cone."
J'ai pris le français par 5 ans, mais je déteste les profs.
Okay, you can't interrupt me on this one. This is a big moment. I haven't gotten to do this before on the Walking Dead cast. Every time I ask it, I go, "Oh wait, I can't ask that." But our own Mrs. Malice, our deadhead aficionado, has somewhere that you can follow her and talk dead with her. Where can we follow you, Mrs. Malice?
On Twitter,
Yay!
Malice 4134.
Mrs. Malice 4134. Go follow her. She likes to talk about Walking Dead stuff. Tell her how amazing Daryl is and how much you love gore from The Walking Dead, and she'll probably follow you back. I don't know.
Don't have to follow Mr. Malice anymore.
No. But you can still You can still go to Twitter at Jack_Malice and still say everything's jacked up. So.
Tell them how much you love Superman and Michael Bay.
Follow us on Twitter at MaliceCorp and at MaliceCast. Check out all of our great podcasts that we do. We have Quest for 100. We have Nerd Mosh Pit. They're both on iTunes and Stitcher. They're audio casts. Come back on Fridays for MaliceCast Live, where we talk all things nerd. And stay tuned for more developments and more things to come. I appreciate you guys coming out here. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Mest_MaliceCorp or on Instagram at Mest5150. With that, we will see you guys next week to talk more Dead, and stay alive out there, and hopefully you survive the upcoming apocalypse. You guys keep nerding on.
Helicopter.
Carry on.